Hey, welcome everybody to our show. This week, we're going to be talking about how to make a content calendar, but not just any boring content calendar. We're going to be talking about making one on Trello, and I'm actually going to walk you through the process live here on the show today. But first off, I want to say thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. What a great day it really is. And I really hope you guys are able to stop by, take some time to listen, and would you just do me a quick favor? Would you just share the show out? Because I mean, it's always more fun when you've got friends. So I want to say hi and welcome to everybody that's actually here. And I see a couple of you guys already on. I thank you so much. Here, I'm checking over on Periscope to make sure we're live on Periscope, and I love it. It's awesome to see you guys. What is going on? We got broadcasts. This is episode 32, if you can believe that. Hey, Lindsay Badger. Hey, Herbie. It's great to see you guys. Good morning, Terry, on Twitter. Guys, thank you so much. You guys just please just share this out. And you know what? I almost always say, I need to practice what I preach. So if you give me a minute, I'll be right back. Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much. My name is Jonathan Tripp. In case you couldn't figure it out from the subtitle below, my name is Jonathan Tripp. Welcome to the show. Welcome to this episode. This is episode, I think it's 32 this year that we've done. And this is how to create. Today we're going to specifically talk about how to create a content calendar on Trello. And I'm going to tell you right now, this was inspired. Somebody gave me this idea. I did not think of this all on my own, but we are definitely going to be having some fun with it today. And first off, I do want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, especially those that are watching in Live Talk Nation. If you're watching this or you saw this because of Live Talk Nation, which is our Facebook group, just give me like a thumbs up or give me like a comment in the comment section, because I love to know how many of you guys have actually watched the show or found out the show because of our Facebook group. And this is a Facebook group, in case you guys don't already know, you guys can go over there. It's just livetalknation.com, and that will actually that'll just direct you right over to the Facebook group. It's a free group. It doesn't cost you any money, but guess what? The relationships there, and we've talked about this a whole bunch of times, are just phenomenal. And I got to say, big shout out to all the admin team, all the moderators, and that's really head up and led by Terry Johnson. Big shout out to her. You can find her on Twitter at WebGirlTJ. So big shout out to you, Terry. Thank you, and thank you for being there and for watching. All right, guys. As it is, and I want to say thank you. I see Pat, I see Barb, I see Lindsay, I see Sarah. And if you guys aren't familiar, Sarah is actually my mom. I actually have my mom watching the show today. How awesome is that? All right, guys. So let's get right into it today. How many of you guys actually have ever used a content calendar or use one for your own personal business, or maybe you even use one for a client, or maybe where you work? How interesting is that? How many of you guys actually use a content calendar? And I gotta say, like, I have waffled. I've flipped between absolutely needing one and then totally just going off the rails and not really using one at all. I've gone both ways, and I want to share some of my experiences and the things that I see as some of the value in having a calendar. For a long time, we would just make content because it's what we felt like doing. Or a really fancy way for saying that is, I feel inspired. but no, it's just really what you feel like doing. And sometimes we just make content off the cuff. And I want to actually just talk about that in how the content calendar will actually help you be more creative in your content creation process. And that might not make sense. It's like, oh, but John, I hate calendars. I hate the structures. I don't want to use spreadsheets. I don't want to use another app. I don't want to use, but I'm going to tell you right now, from personal experience, and I've been doing both in a variety of different venues and in industries, I'm telling you, having some kind of a calendar will help you be more creative because it allows your brain not to have to remember what's the next thing that needs to happen or is going to happen. And we're going to talk about checklists, but by letting your brain not have to remember all those minutia of steps, what it actually helps you do, it releases your brain from having to remember those kinds of things and can actually focus on being creative. And I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, no, you're not telling me the truth. There's just no way. That's not the way my brain works. I just need to do it whenever I need to do it. And then I would flip-flop because I would get so burned out that I would just go to the other extreme and I would schedule every single thing out. I mean, down to the tweet. I would like, no, the tweet has to be at 12:31 in order to be effective. And guys, it's just not that way. That is just not the way that people function. Okay. And I don't want you to get kind of stuck in that mindset that's like, oh my goodness, that's the way it is, because it's just simply not. All right. So without much ado, I do want to, I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but why a calendar? Why do we need a calendar? And I already kind of gave you some of my thoughts on that. I think, having a calendar it's super important, because what a calendar does, and I just want to make sure that all the slides are coming up like that for you guys, but why do you need one? Why, honestly, guys, there's too much content and there's too little time. Your time is the one thing you'll never get back. And so using that as one of the guidelines for how you're going to put your content out. Now, it means that, being aware of it, it means that knowing when to post and sometimes actually when not to post. And that's a really important aspect to remember. Another part, and I've already kind of touched on this more from the personal application side, but I want you to know that you don't need to remember everything all by yourself. You don't have to remember everything. I mean, we're in a day and age now when, we have been for a while, that, I don't remember almost anybody's phone number anymore. It's just it's in my phone. Or the contact. I don't remember your email address because I put it in my contacts list. And I want you to think the calendar is the same thing for that. It just keeps your content in a place where you know that you can find it and access it and be able to go, oh, yep, this is what I need to do next. And when you take it in the right context, it works wonders. And so what this really does lead to is better results and a greater peace of mind. And I don't mean to go all ethereal on you and everything like this, but I'm going to tell you right now, the peace of mind aspect for some people, with how hectic their life is and with how many things that they're trying to do, it really does, just that fact alone is worth the whole process, because you're doing it anyway. Now you're just doing it in a way that you can let your brain be more creative on the other side. So really, now the next question is, because the name of the show is how to create a content calendar on Trello. So now the question is, right? Why Trello? Why don't we just use Google Calendars, or why don't we use just like Hootsuite or CoSchedule or Buffer or something like that? And those are all really great things, but I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why I think Trello is probably the way to go. And as I'm doing this, guys, I want to know, do you use Trello? How many of you guys have used Trello? I'm sure almost all of you guys have heard of Trello, but how many of you guys actually use Trello? And there's Trello is not the only thing of its kind. There's Asana and there's a few others, and I've used them. But why Trello? And I'm just going to say, guys, because it's simple. And I don't mean basic, no features. I mean, it's simple. It's straightforward. There's a lot of common sense. It's not drop down menu after drop down menu. 14 clicks later, you finally were able to get to the item. No, it's simple. I like how flexible it is. And I'll show you a little bit more here in just a minute as we actually get into, and I'm going to show you how I make and how I've crafted, and I made a Trello board for content just for the show as a demonstration to show you how easy it is to move things around. I like because it's visual. How many of you guys are visual learners? And that is a real thing. You know, I mean, some people they're tactile. Some people, they can read it. Some people need to hear it. Some people need to use everything they've got. But this is primarily, it's visual. It's not a checklist per se. It's not a spreadsheet at all. It's more like a bulletin board. It's more like sticky notes that help you remember. It's more like cards out, and it's just doing it virtually. Terry says she sees Asana too. Yep, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of these good tools, and but the last one that I'm really going to put out there is that, you know, we've talked about how simple and flexible and visual it is. It's also integrated. This is going to be a really key aspect of why I think Trello is still a really good tool, even though it's been out for a while, and even though there are other ones out there that do similar things. But Trello may actually be the answer that you're looking for and that you're thinking about. So, having said that, let's get into the actual part where we're going to be doing hey, let's create. How cool is that, right? So how do we actually create these steps, okay? And I'm gonna as we're getting into this, I want to make sure that you guys understand, okay, that this is you know, that what is this project actually good for? Okay, I mean, what is this thing for? It's actually really good. It's good for it's great for projects, just straight out projects. Okay, it's good for projects. It's great for campaigns and promotions. One thing it's probably not really good at is like scheduling things for like individual tweets. All right, like I don't want you to go through unless this is part of a campaign. It's overkill, right? And I mean, some corporate things are it's actually that important that everything that everything falls in line, and that's part of a campaign. But I would say don't do this exercise. Don't go through this methodology just for a tweet. It's overkill. There's too many steps involved. But what this stuff is really good for. This is really good for the campaigns, or when you're grouping or batching some projects, and you just need a little bit more. Okay, so having said that, let me make sure that and I know sometimes these are a little small, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys at least I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, and if you don't notice here, let's see if I can't just do it just like that. And I want to make sure that I'm bringing over for you guys everything that you guys can see. So let's making sure you guys can see that, and so we'll just, there we go. I was waiting for that to go through. So and I'm going to take you through, these are the actual steps that I'm going to tell you that you guys are going to need. Okay, and we're going to go through it. And if you guys do have, hey Mike Erickson, good to see you, man. If you guys do have questions, absolutely put questions in. Put them in the comments, and just put like Q, and I will do my best to pop over in between steps and things like this. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need to do in this is that you're going to actually have to create a board. Okay, now within Trello, you're able to create boards. You just log in, and this is not a how to log in tutorial. This is how to create. And so I'm going to assume, for the sake of this, and maybe I'll do a short tutorial on the how to create a board, but how to log in and how to just really the basics of Trello. But you need to create a board. You can call this board whatever you want. And now this is what I mean by that. Okay. So with content calendars, obviously, guys, the idea is, in the purpose of the content calendar is to calendar or organize the content in a timeline fashion, in a way that is scheduled out, and there's a time and a place, right? So when we're talking about this, how do we title this? And I think the best way to title it, you can call it, it depends on what content. If you're a blogger, then maybe putting blog content calendar. If you're a YouTuber, YouTube content. If you have a particular, maybe a show like Paint from the Heart, Okay, Cindy's show, or Biz Chicks with Terry, or PopX Cast. You can put this out there so that you can either have like a show, okay, calendar, or if you want to make one very specifically for just a particular platform, and I would only do that if that one is either your main platform that you put most of your content out, or the content in that folder takes a lot of parts to it. Okay, if that's the case. So I just want to make sure. Oh, let's see here. What's oh, it looks like let's see here. What's going on? I don't see my are you guys still able to hear and or see me? Because all of a sudden it seems like everything kind of just went away. Is this what's happening here? I don't know. You guys got to still you guys got to let me know. Okay, so I don't know, because on my screen it just totally went away. I'm just gonna let it flow through. If you guys can actually still see and hear me with the green screen, is that correct in the background? I just want to make sure. You guys got to give me a yes or a no as I see it or I don't. Because on my end it just went away, and I don't. It's a visual tutorial, and I want to make sure you guys actually are able to watch and follow along. Good. I do see a yes. Cool. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep on going. All right. So we talked about naming your calendar. Name it appropriately for what it is that you're trying to create. Okay, and that's going to be like super important, because if you name it not that if you name it the wrong thing, the whole thing doesn't work, but it needs to be something that's functional. Like for me, I just put content calendar because I want all of my content to go through the same process. Okay. So when so that's that. We name it, we create it. The next thing that we need to be doing, we create it, and I know I've been very specific, and I'm going to walk you through these. Create these 6 columns, and we're actually going to go through these. Okay, so the 6 columns are. I'm going to tell you. Start off with ideas, and a column is just a group of this is just where we're going to end up putting all the rest of our content. But you want to make 6 columns. One, you're going to start off with ideas, and this is going to be where you put, as it makes sense. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. These are the ideas. This is where kind of like your brainstorm. You're like, oh, this would be a really good idea. We could do this. I could do this book review. I could do this app review. Oh, I could show how to use this paintbrush or something like that. Whatever the case is, those are all really good ideas. Okay. For being able to do it. The next one I want you to put in there is create. And this is actually, now that you brainstorm the idea, and I'm gonna share this with you, because I didn't figure this out because no one told me, and I figured out the really hard way. You're gonna come up with 10, 15, 20 ideas, and 2 of them are gonna stick. Maybe 5. And if you're really good and you're really practiced, then it's gonna be, you might have 10. And that's really crazy if you really think about it, right? You can have 10 of these ideas that are actually going to stick. And so this is your create. This is where this is where you're taking the ideas from the brainstorm idea to, this is the one that we're going to do. We're going to do this one. Okay. The next one we're going to be doing is edit. Okay, so now the whole idea is that you've taken the create, now it's into the edit. Go over to the schedule, and this is going to be a part of it too, and promote. Okay, and then the last one is going to be published. Okay, this is kind of, so once you get done, you're going to end up having all of these columns put out there. And I hope that makes sense. And if it does, if it doesn't, just let me know. Say, hey, John, can you go over that again? And I will make sure that I go back over that. Okay, so once you've actually created all of these 6 steps, these 6 columns, what's the next thing that you need to do? We're going to need to set labels. And this is super simple. This is ridiculously simple, guys. But when we do it, and I think you guys are able to see, yeah, good. So you come over here onto the side menu, and you're able to, you can change the color background and things like this. Another easy way to do this is that you're able to add here are your labels right here. And for me, I just put these right out here. I just use these 3 colors. And I'm just going to say start with these. These labels are completely functional. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But, you know, green for approved. I like that. Green is go. Review is yellow. So for me, it's caution. And priority is red. It's like, oh, you guys got to pay attention. Maybe it's on a deadline or something like this. And those things are like really, really important. Okay? Because without them, guess what? Sometimes it's hard to remember not only just where the stage is, but what's the next thing that we need to do in this. Okay, so now this is an advanced feature. This next one, in that, but it's something you need to be doing no matter what. Okay, and this is assign a role or a team. Okay, or a team member. Now here's the reason why I say that. Even if you're working by yourself, you need to assign it to yourself. You need to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, and by actually assigning yourself, and I know it sounds kind of silly, it sounds kind of ridiculous. John, I work by myself. I know that I need to do it next. No, put your name on it, because you get in the practice, because eventually what's going to end up happening, okay, so you do work by yourself. You don't, that's fine. What if you work with somebody? What if you're going to work with somebody, right? What if you have, I don't know, let's just say a guest contributor. Maybe you're having somebody help you out. Maybe you're interviewing a show and you've asked them to contribute something and you want to keep track of these things. This is what I mean. Assign who that team role is, and when it comes time, say, oh, we're putting the show together, or we're putting this piece of content together. I'm waiting on somebody to send me this. This is where you use the team assigned. Now, within Trello, you can actually assign and add people members specifically here. And if you're using a paid version of it, you can actually assign different roles within within that board. And for the vast majority of you guys, until you actually get to the point where you're buying it or you're paying for it, and it's not that expensive of a service, you can it's just in there, but making sure you can tag people, you can assign people for free and things like this, so people are able to look, you know, and be able to participate in it. But so one of my points is saying assign a role, okay? And it's good. It's a good practice to do. The next thing I really want you to be thinking of in terms of, for me, this is how I think. I always think and I work in categories. Okay, to me it's super important. And by categories, John? Well, like, what do you mean by categories? All right, because not everybody gets it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So a category. How about this? A category for me would be something like it's a written video post. You know, it's a blog post or a vlog or a video, or maybe it's a show. That's your post. You can do questions, other people's content. That's another kind of a category. Maybe you're into inspirational you know, posts and things like this. Tactics, how-tos, tutorial videos, or tutorial process steps. Okay, it's something it's not just a word blog, but you're actually taking the time to explain and put somebody through the steps. Those are really important. What about contests or promos? How many of you guys actually take time to do contests or promos with your content? Right? I think to me, you know, in that gives a chance for you to provide a lot of different kind of content. Okay, and so when you are actually creating content in that format, you know, you've done all this other give. Make sure that you're taking time to you know, to be able to give somebody the opportunity to buy from you, to purchase your service or your product. If everything you're doing is just outward, and there's no return, sometimes people actually kind of get a little wary. They're like, I would love to be able to do something for you. I really like what you're doing. How can I use your service? Okay. And that really kind of gets me over to this next one. And this is where, now a lot of this is prerequisites. This is just the setup thing. But what I'm going to tell you right now, this next one is the key. If you were to listen to anything else, because this is not just Trello, but I'm going to show you how to use it in Trello. This is the thing. You guys, if you don't have checklists, and if you're not using checklists, you are missing out on some of the greatest strengths of a process. Okay? So for me, how do you use a checklist? And I think this is this the zoomed in one? No, this isn't quite the zoomed in one. I just want to make sure that you guys are able to see. Now, This I do this so that you guys can come back to the video and look at it and things like this. And I'm gonna bring this right over, and I'm gonna center this. All right, so you guys should kind of zoom in. This is one of the features I really like about Trello, almost more than anything else, because I'm a process guy. Like I love the end result, but I want to make sure that we're actually going to get there and get there the way that we planned it. So within Trello, you can actually put together a checklist, because you know what you need to do. And I just kind of outlined one here real quick for YouTube, right? And you can go in and you can edit these just like this. Research your keywords. Oh, maybe I need to change that. So I'm just going to add the word, my keywords and tags. Okay. So you can do these just like this. But once you've already done this, why do I have to keep doing it again? Well, here's a really awesome, why do you have to keep reinventing the wheel and coming up with this? Within Trello, you actually have a way, and here, let me move this over. I want to make sure to move this over so you guys are able to see this, okay? So over here on the right side, inside your card, you put a checklist, and you can copy it from a previous card. Now, this to me is one of the best things, because now I can, here, I'm going to delete this one. I'm just going to show you. I have a checklist for YouTube. Now I want to add a checklist for, from another card, right? So when I start another event, we're going to create, let's see here. We're going to create the painting tutorial. Okay, so you're going to come into here, and this is the next thing you want to do, and you want to attach your YouTube checklist, and there it is. And what that did is that took the card, all the checklist stuff, the things that you know that you've got to do, and it put it into this new card. All right, and this is why I think it's really important that that everybody, that you guys know and understand what it is that Trello is able to do. Okay, because you're able to create a card, and a card is, in this case, the way I put this together, the card is the piece of content. And that's the really important part. So that as you're creating, you come up with this idea. You're like, oh, a painting tutorial. This would be a really great idea. Let's do a cooking show. I want to do a coffee post. If I can spell post right? So we have all these ideas. Now that you're like, you know what, this is really, I don't cooking show, I'm going to archive that. That's not a good idea. I'm just not going to do it. But we're going to do the coffee post, and so this goes into the create. Okay, and you've added all the different things that you want to, maybe the different steps, or it's just gotten to that next part, the create. Now, you know what? Here, I'm going to edit this. We're actually going to make it to this. But one of the strong features of being able to use things like Asana, or in this case particularly Trello, is that you're able to add due dates. Okay, and I think this is a really interesting part where we're able to actually add a due date on here. And I think here, let me see if I can just bring this right over, and we'll just do we'll be able to do it like that. Now you guys can see it. So it's right here. There's the due date. Able to add the date. I want this thing done by Monday at 1 p.m. That's when I want this thing to go live, right? And by the way, also we need to be adding, I want to add a label to it. This is priority, because I'm under a time crunch. And I want to make sure that I'm actually getting this thing done. And so we're able to add these different kind of features, these checklist features, so that we're able to keep track of what content we have where and things like that. And by using that framework where we're using the different columns, and you're moving it from the create to the edit to the schedule and to the promote. And I would say, when you're picking your due dates, figure out when it is that you want to go to. When do you want that post to actually go to? And that's going to be really critical, because that's going to decide, that's going to really help you decide when the content, how much effort you need to be putting in the content to make it happen. And there's probably like 100 different ways to do this, but just to kind of give you that overall idea is that using those checklists is going to be super important. The next thing that I can really tell you that I think is a big helper to make sure that your content is going out. Guys, don't be afraid. Actually schedule the stuff. Okay, when you move it, you finish the edit, it goes over to schedule. Okay, do it. Set the date. This is the due date right here. This is the day. This is the countdown date. And so when this goes in its regular schedule, now you've got it into your calendar. Now, just to be really clear about this, Trello does not do the actual posting for you. This is an organization tool so that you can do this. All right. And when it comes to, if you're looking for an actual scheduling tool, there's tons of them out there. Buffer, CoSchedule, Post Planner, Hootsuite. I happen to use Hootsuite. I've used it for a while. I like a lot of the content that it uses and the format that it uses and things like that. It's really kind of great. Now, just a second, I want to really just making sure that I've gone back over, make sure I didn't miss any questions. So one of the things that I think is really important when we talking about why would you want to then use this particular tool rather than just a pen and paper, or rather why not a spreadsheet? Now, you know what, those have their different functions, and I'm going to say like this, right? With all the steps that you might need to use in order to be able to make sure that your YouTube video goes up. All right. What if you need to then go back and tweak it? You have to have a separate list, and you have to make sure that you're keeping track. This is what a Trello tool does. So you can put it in there and say, okay, look, I'm in this thing. I don't have time to do it now, but I know I need to edit the title or the description. I need to update now that the video is done. I need to put the transcription in. Maybe I need to adjust my hashtags because they're just not connecting. They're not putting everything in the right. They're not connecting with the content that we actually produced. Okay, there's lots of different reasons why you might need to go back and check it out using your checklist, making sure that things are getting done. But why not a pen and paper? Honestly, because it gets lost. It's not reproducible. A lot of this Trello tech, I know it's a tech, but it's just a tool. A lot of it just allows you to reproduce content, using the checklist formats. There's some different power-ups, and power-ups are just different integrations that will they like a calendar feature, so you can actually see in a very calendar sort of way all the content and where it is and what date, when it's scheduled due and things. That's a really great feature. Another one is it's a repeating card, so that if you know that let's just say you do a show once a week, that on Friday at say 10 o'clock there's this really kind of fun show going on. I'm able to put then in my Trello a repeating card that says post show. Make sure that you share it out. Thank those who shared. Update your landing page with the new video. Change the title in YouTube. Okay, and I got to make sure that I do that every week after the show, because otherwise, once it's done, and sometimes you just fly and you're off to the next thing. Use Trello as a way to try to help manage it and be your reminder, so that you don't have to remember the things, and it frees your mind up to be more creative in the process of going, oh, I don't really need to remember these things, and you can really be focused on what I think a lot of you guys really do well, which is create awesome and fun and very informative content, blogs, videos, Instagram posts, right? So that's my case for using Trello to make a content calendar. It's not the only way. It's flexible enough, and it's going to change over time. And if it doesn't, I'm probably going to tell you, you're probably not using it the right way, because what's really great about Trello is that it's going to give you the time and the flexibility to make your calendar. And if you ever really want maybe a little bit more personal or a better way to do it, reach out to me. You can do that on my fan page over at Jonathan Tripp. You can message us there. But if you would like to sit down and do a consult, maybe this is something you would like to implement for your business, or you need somebody to implement it for your business, go over to vitmug.com, message us down there, and that would be actually really kind of a really cool thing to be able to help you be able to implement this in and set into motion a content plan that you can either have somebody do for you, or it will be something that you are able to maintain yourself. You just need that launching pad, so to speak. So anyway, guys, that is this week. We are going to be doing, I think we've got an after show. It's kind of hard to, sometimes it's really hard to keep track of that, right? How many of you guys want to go over and we'll watch be able to watch the post show, right? Isn't it? And we call it the after chat. We've called it the after chat for a really long time. So yeah, if you guys would like to do that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm sure that if anybody has the link, drop it in the comments. If not, we're going to be doing that in the next couple of minutes. And guys, I gotta say thank you again. Make sure you do sign up for to the reminders, like the fan page, and it'll keep going out there. And we'll be back next week, and we'll be able to share some more content. But in the meantime, guys, thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Talk to you later.